After five.
So it's 4:45 as of this recording. The final round of the VFL has concluded, and again, I was going to do this VFL standalone report after the round had completed because there was a lot of machinations in regards to our ladder position, where we would end up, whether we avoid the wildcard round or whether we get into the wildcard round. Based on the title of this video, it's confirmed. We are in the wildcard round, and we only have ourselves to blame. This is basically a two-part video or a three-part video. Firstly, we lost by 8 points to Port Melbourne Saturday. I'll talk about that game a little bit more. And because of results happening on Sunday, we've ended up in 7th spot on the VFL ladder. Therefore, we are playing VFL next week. We are playing Williamstown. I don't know when. I don't know where it's going to be. But what we do know about the wildcard round is this. If we beat Williamstown, we'll have to play Brisbane next week or the week after. That's in Brisbane. So that will be during the AFL bye week, I guess. So not ideal in terms of resting players and depth players and whatnot, unless certain players want to play the VFL to get some match experience and whatnot. Bit of a tricky situation for Collingwood still in regards to managing players, if we want to manage players, that is, and also navigating the VFL season as well. In terms of results today on Sunday, Williamstown beating Richmond by 21 points. So congratulations to Williamstown knocking Coburg out of the top 10, getting themselves into the wildcard round, taking on us, that is. And also, I guess, I don't want to congratulate Casey, but Casey beating Box Hill, who were on top of the VFL ladder as of the start of the round. We've fallen into 7th spot. And also Brisbane and Frankston having a draw. So because of that, if we beat Williamstown next week, we have to go up to Brisbane to take on Brisbane. And if we somehow beat Brisbane, we would likely take on Southport in Southport. So 2 weeks in Queensland in the VFL, if that's the case, to somehow go deep into September in the VFL. But I've displayed the VFL ladder at the end of the home and away season, and 7th takes on 10th, 8th takes on 9th. Guarantee for us, we win, we take on Brisbane. Richmond and GWS, they have to play off, they have to rely on us and Williamstown and certain results there. So technically a bit more machinations there, but after that, then it's clear on finals. So we win, we take on Brisbane the week after. We lose, we are officially out. But again, as of this recording, there's no confirmed time, no confirmed date just yet. It is next weekend, but whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, and just remember as well, the AFLW season has started, so the local grounds will be used up. The only ground I can see that's not being used is Widden Oval. Might be good for me to attend on a Sunday, but not on a Saturday. But that's a VFL final round ladder and all the machinations completed. Let's just get into the VFL round 21 report. And again, we lost by 8 points. We only have ourselves to blame, having led for 3 and a bit quarters in this game. Port Melbourne stepping up in a scrappy contest. Weird to say this, but the first quarter looked pretty good. Probably the best we've looked all season, minus the 9-goal quarter against Williamstown last week and a few other decent quarters later in the season or early in the season. But the first quarter here, we looked good. Much more endeavour. We attacked the footy, whether it's through the corridor or around the ground. Switched up well, changed directions, went about our business. Tom McGuan had his best quarter in a Collingwood jumper. 8 disposals in the first quarter. Mason Cox kicks a goal from 60 metres out. Kicked it with ease as well. Rowan Steele was involved early. Oscar Steen was a presence up forward and also pitch hitting in the ruck. Things were looking good in the first quarter. And then the second quarter started, and then the wet weather conditions came in, particularly the windy conditions, and that's where Port Melbourne were able to adjust. We weren't able to adjust, however, we were hanging on to the lead at half-time. Finn McRae was able to get involved. Tom Mitchell got his hands dirty. Noah Howe's kicked back-to-back goals, and I really enjoyed Noah Howe's game as well. He likes to kick goals in patches, or purple patches. He's kicked 15 goals for Collingwood so far across 9 VFL games. It's being picked up as a mid-season recruit. Technically 15 goals across 6 games, so 2.5 goals on average the last 6 games. Looks the goods, and I'm sure he'll get a contract extension into next year, get a full pre-season at AFL level, and who knows from there. But Finn McRae keeps playing well in VFL. He's playing for an AFL lifeline. I don't think he'll get the Collingwood lifeline next year. I do think he ends up at St Kilda playing alongside his brother, most likely as a delisted free agent or dirt cheap pickup for St Kilda, midfield depth for them. And they'll eventually play at AFL level at some point, Maxon and Finn McRae. Third quarter of this game against Port Melbourne, we were hanging on by a thread. Certain players for Port Melbourne, they had quite a few ex-AFL listed players. Dyson Heppel playing for Port Melbourne, James Hird being the coach, his son Tom Hird playing. Dominic Bendejo, I'm calling him that because he was an arsehole against us, had a field day, 28 disposals and 5 goals. He was probably the best on ground. Charlie Lazaro did whatever he wanted, 45 disposals, no one picked him up. Minus 29 in disposals in the third quarter, minus 8 in clearances. We were destroyed in the midfield, but held on to a 5-point lead at three-quarter time. But the signs were there. We weren't able to hang on, and that was the case. We lost by 8 points. It was a shootout late in the final quarter, but Port Melbourne were able to respond. Certain players stood up for us. A lot more players from Port Melbourne stood up, and the rest is history. We have ourselves to blame. We've lost a game we should have won by 8 points, and we end up in the wildcard round, and we are playing VFL next week against Williamstown. Now, in terms of players possibly being in senior selection next week, there's only two players that come to mind, and that's Rowan Steele and Mason Cox. Rowan Steele was best on for me for Collingwood here, 32 disposals at 78% disposal efficiency. That's the key as well. This was wet weather, windy conditions, and Rowan Steele stood up from the first quarter all the way through to the end. 6 inside 50 entries as well, another key as well, and kicking a goal. Mason Cox, 29 hitouts, 20 disposals, 4 contested marks, and a goal. He had 6 free kicks in this game, and he should have ended up with 10 free kicks in this game. He was targeted by multiple Port Melbourne players, taller players. They didn't have a set ruck. A lot of eyes on him in contests. They weren't going for the ball and didn't get enough free kicks for my liking. This was in Port Melbourne, so it would have disturbed the locals there, unfortunately. Finn McRae, 29 disposals, 6 score involvements, 6 inside 50 entries, 5 tackles, 3 clearances. Solid all round, best midfielder in this game. Rowan Steele was the outside midfielder. Finn McRae was the inside midfield. He was doing whatever he wanted. I don't think he'll get a senior selection call up this year. I think he will be delisted at the end of the year, unfortunately. Noah Howes, 3 goals, 12 disposals, 3 inside 50 entries, and 2 score involvements. Those 4 players were best on for me. Other players involved, Tom Mitchell, 17 disposals, just 2 picks for the game, but he went at 82% disposal efficiency, so less about disposals and more about being efficient with ball in hand. 8 tackles and 6 clearances. He was okay. Could have been better. I don't think he'll play next week against Melbourne. Harry Demetia, 13 disposals at 77% disposal efficiency. 6 inside 50 entries. Could have been better. I don't think he'll get a senior debut this year. Hoskin Elliott, 1 goal from 12 disposals, 4 inside 50 entries, and 4 score involvements. Maybe as an emergency, but I highly doubt he gets called up this year. He may have played his last game for us. Who knows? Oscar Steen, 11 disposals and only 5 hitouts. He was pinch hitting in the ruck. Charlie Dean, 17 disposals, 6 intercept possessions. Won't get a call up this year unless there's injury. And Will Hayes and Joel Cochran playing at the game. I guess decent games for them, but nothing that really stands out. And the rest is history. We are playing Williamstown next week. We are hosting it, so it could be at Vic Park on a Saturday afternoon after the AFLW game. It could be at the AIA Centre, but that's a double header there, or there'll be a time clash on a Saturday afternoon. Watch this space, where we're playing, when we're playing. If it's a neutral ground, it'll likely be at Footscray. If it's our home ground, probably AIA Centre on a Saturday afternoon, but again, it's all watch this space. In terms of senior selection possibilities, either Mason Cox and Rowan Steele in the mix, but that's about it. I don't expect major changes for the Melbourne game on Friday night. Jeremy Howe returns. Bobby Hill, that's a mystery still. I'm not going to go in depth on that. I'll let everyone else comment on it, and I'm not going to judge him for it. It is what it is, unfortunately. I hate that term, but I've got to say it here, unfortunately. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's scans confirming an injury. I guess we'll see. But that's about it. Only one Collingwood win. That goes to the VFLW side. And I will talk about that game because that's the only positive out of this game. We won that game by 25 points. The Collingwood Magpies are into the VFLW Grand Final, beating Box Hill by 25 points. And they will take on the winner of Box Hill or North Melbourne. North Melbourne destroying, quote unquote, Williamstown by 25 points. 4 goals, 17 to 2 goals for North Melbourne, playing with a purpose in that game. So it'd be such a Collingwood thing to lose the Grand Final to Box Hill or North Melbourne. Haven't been those two sides in finals recently. 5 goals up at three-quarter time. Box Hill kicked 2 early goals in the final quarter. It didn't look shaky per se, but we wasted time with players being managed or injured, staying down in the hands of trainers. 5 minutes added on, but we were able to just steady the ship or steady the flow and kick the match-winning goal in the end. Things are looking good at Collingwood's VFLW side. Turnaround in recent years since losing the grand final in 2023. We should have played off in a grand final in 2021, but that's COVID lockdowns for you. So we're going for our second VFLW premiership, the first in 6 years. They'll be at Port Melbourne in 2 weeks' time. My next video will be the preview to the Melbourne game. I will have time confirmations and dates and whatever for the VFL Wildcard Round. So 3 Collingwood games to look forward to next week. But that is all for this video. I'll leave you guys all to it. Hoping you guys have had a good weekend. Be well, stay safe, Magpies out. Up the play!